afternoon, good evening. Welcome from wherever you're watching or listening to us. That covers it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, how are things?
So the only thing I can hear in my brain is because I've had Houdini, the new Eminem song, on loop because I love him so much, and all I can hear in my background is abracadabra. Very great song for you Eminem fans and for you youngsters. He is the original, so knock it off and go listen to how great he is.
It's actually funny because speaking of that, I saw a TikTok this morning about like these younger people doing first reactions to some of the
Yeah,
older songs. Those are so funny. The look on their faces are hysterical. It's like, what is this?
yeah. And they're like, how did I never hear this before? Like, well, I don't know. You've been living under a rock because you think anyone that's not 20 can't do anything. So, anyways, it's a great single. I was really excited, and his album comes out shortly. So, should be
Awesome.
fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's just that now you guys are all going to go and listen to it, and it'll be stuck in your head, and you'll be like me and put it on repeat all day long because it takes a long time to learn all those words.
It does. It does. And it also takes a long time to get those words once you learn them out of your head.
Yes. So,
Right? Which is where, you know what? I'm just going to segue right from that. I thought that was a brilliant segue to what we once did is not necessarily.
no,
Is that a good segue?
no, not at all. Everything's changing, as you know. We've been talking a lot about AI, and it's because AI is changing
Yeah.
everything in
Yeah.
every situation. And one of the situations is coaching, right?
Yes.
That's a big one that's changing in the marketplace, and
Yeah.
not just because of AI, but coaching in general is changing. So AI is adding to it. I don't know if you've seen those ads. I don't know what the app is, but it is promoting using the AI coach for your fitness coach
Oh,
instead
I have not seen the ads.
instead of having a fitness coach. It scans your body, and then it gives you what exercises you need to be doing.
Hmm.
Kind of interesting. I would love to
I think I'm very interested in seeing what it would recommend.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would love to try it. It's just that it's a paid one. And
Mhm.
so I'm always looking for a free trial. So
Exactly.
if anyone knows that, let me know. But it was just an interesting thing because I'm like, oh, well, that could be really cool. Because if you say if it's I don't know how I mean it's not going to scan you for disease or cardio, it's going to scan for your body type. So if you
Right.
say if it scans it and you say, I want to work on core, and they can tell you need to work on core, the scan, then I guess it can give you those specific exercises. I don't know, um, you know, how effective it is. If anyone has actually tried it, give us a shout.
I
Let
would
us
love to
know.
know. Yeah, that sounds very, very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely, yeah, I think just there's that coaching, there's personal fitness coaching, physical coaching, business coaching, personal coaching. I think somebody asked me the other day, "Oh, so you're a coach." And the first thing you get asked is, "Are you a life coach?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"I am not a life coach."
Yeah. My life coaches here.
But there's a lot of things that I've seen, just a few things I've seen different people that I'm connected to on Facebook and Instagram, and they're changing their business models. And I'm seeing that trend come, right? Somebody's like, oh, I've stopped doing online this. I actually did a referral to somebody I knew in regards to coaching. And a friend asked me, and she goes, oh, I'm no longer taking one-on-one clients. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's interesting. And then I see somebody else shutting down sort of their online coaching business. And I think there's changes. There's changes that are
Yeah.
happening. What are you seeing?
Well, I think before you always thought I have a coach, one coach, right?
Right.
You have to coach and you meet them every week. And, we've talked about the ineffectiveness of it a lot of the times because, people come in not prepared.
Right.
They expect the coach to just tell them what to do, and it doesn't work that way,
Right.
right? And I think now there are so many opportunities to be more effective if you're doing a one-on-one. If you've done some background, like, so if you've
Right.
given your clients courses so they can go through and then you can help them. So what we did, for those of you who are in Mastermind City, but what we did for our community is we have a wealth of different programs, and our programs are very specific. So they're not like the generic programs where, you learn about theory. It's very much very clear. At the end of this course, one course, you will learn how to do a keynote speech. You will learn how to have a podcast on air, like literally have one on air, not just theory of here's what you do. We do step by step. But the key to all those that we believe was right, and the trends, was to add our coaching in every week as a group coaching,
Right.
so that everyone is benefiting from being able to talk to you live, getting asking whatever questions they need after they've seen the courses, right? Because they've gone through and they've learned everything. They've done the heavy lifting, and now the questions are very focused, right? They're very focused in terms of what they specifically need. The other piece, which is really cool about group coaching, as we see every single week, is everyone learns from each other, right?
Yeah.
So people are asking questions that you may have not ever considered asking. And then you realize, oh, yeah, that applies to me too. Right?
Well, and it's also interesting, again, what we see week after week is the people who come to the group coaching session without the question.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because we'll, say like what's new, what's going on, whatever the case may be. And they're like, I'm just here to listen.
Yeah.
And that's okay too,
It's
because you
fine.
benefit from the people who are asking the questions. You benefit
Yeah.
from the information that we're sharing, whether we're doing a hot seat, whether we're looking at whatever part of their business, we're helping them on their signature message, whatever the case may be. They're there to learn and listen, as opposed to on a specific case,
Yeah.
right? Which you can't get in a general course.
No.
So that's
And
been
I
a
think I
interesting thing
think
to
that
see.
there's a big piece in terms of, I'm a big proponent of getting multiple information, multiple channels of information, right? So when you come to, for example, a group coaching, you get the leader's idea, which is in our case, Stacy and I. And then you also get input from everybody else. And
Right.
then if you're working with one coach, a static coach, then you're only getting one perspective. And is
Yes.
it good or bad? I don't know, because I've had clients in the past that have been with coaches for years and they didn't accomplish anything. And so it's kind of like, well, didn't you notice 6 months down the road that nothing was happening? And they didn't. So it's like anything, there's good and bad, right? So it doesn't mean that person necessarily was a bad coach, but it maybe wasn't a good fit. So if you have the access to be able to learn through courses and workshops and lives, and then ask questions every week, and that we do specifically, which I think is very, very valuable. So if you're with another group, I mean, it doesn't have to just be us, but we allow you to ask anything you want in the group coaching. So
Yeah.
if you're stuck on, I don't understand how to do, how to put this one piece in, or do you have a tool for this, or what am I doing wrong? You can ask it and you'll get that answer when you need it, right? So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
key. But
absolutely.
I mean, a lot of coaches out there are they're worried about changing their models. They're
Right.
worried about going from one on one, but that's the trend. And the interesting part of what's going now is the whole AI piece and what it brings to coaching, right? So
Exactly.
AI is a tool. Remember, AI is a tool, and how you deploy that tool is what gives you the result. So there are a lot of AI coaches, which meaning that I don't mean a physical person, but an AI, a
Yeah.
robotic coach, that you can ask questions and it will give you answers. It doesn't have a lot of empathy or a lot of touch. For some of us, that's great. We just like facts. For other people, they want that oh, how are you? What's going on this week, and all that conversation. So it really comes down to what you prefer. But I think at this point, if you're a coach, you have to be open to the fact that yes, you can still do one on ones, but you can do groups, you can do multiples, you can do so many things. And you just have to realize that, like everything else in the world right now, coaching is changing too.
Absolutely. And I think that also goes hand in hand with, again, the model that we have, which is, again, we offer courses, a whole library of everything, and
Yeah,
we offer coaching where you can come. Again, having a conversation with somebody who wanted to do now a sort of multi-series online program, and they
right,
did not want to include coaching in that
right.
program. And I'm like, well, that actually becomes a little bit of a difficult process because
Yeah,
I said, so we talked about price. Like, well, what are you thinking of charging? And she's like, well, I love people. I want to make a lot of money. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
thank you. Not helpful. But I said, unfortunately, we're also in a world where information is very accessible. So
Yes,
even if I don't know where to find that information, AI can help me find that information.
yeah,
And it's probably on YouTube and it's probably free. How you're going
right,
to package that is going to be the value.
right.
But adding that group coaching into a course offering may actually up the value because they can ask those questions, because they get your expertise versus here's my program, go buy it for $3,000. Like
Yeah,
it's that's also changed. And I think a lot of
totally.
people are introducing that coaching in as well.
Well, I think almost every kind of hub coaching that we see now, including ours, offers some type of assistance, whether it's group coaching or one on one. And I think it's really, really important for people to understand that. First of all, you have to understand what kind of coach you are. And if you're only interested in one on one, some people are just timid, right? They're timid about doing group coaching because anything can be thrown at you. So you have to be thinking on your feet. You have
Right.
to know your stuff. And
Right.
that's the difference. So there are coaches out there that have one-on-ones. They prepare for that client, right? They do that because they know where the path is going. But like, we prefer to be able just ask us anything you want, and we'll help you get down that path. Because I think everyone changes at a rapid speed now, right? So,
Mhm.
for example, we have people in our membership that have changed directions in 1 month about 20 times, right? So, if you're doing a one-on-one, that coach is really that's hard for them
Right.
because and if you're available every week and they're changing, that's fine. We go with it and we go, yeah, that's cool, that's not good, let's go down here. But that is harder to do as both a coach or a client, right? As a
Right.
client as well, because a client, most coaches, you're purchasing a package with that coach, and you are obligated to stay within that for, I don't know, a year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is. And that's the other problem. Like, if you change directions and realize this coach isn't the right person for you, what do you do?
Right. Or you're only meeting once a month.
Yeah,
And if you would like to change direction, that can really delay the whole
yeah,
process if you need their assistance or whatever in making that
yeah.
happen. So that can really delay progress in your business as well.
But I think what's here's for you coaches out there. Here's and if you are, you know what, I'm going to invite you to come to our community and check us out sometime and see how we coach. But because here's the bigger dilemma for you if you haven't noticed how things are changing. And we're telling you, people want instant answers, and that's
Yeah.
why we're there every week, right? Just take a look at reels or at TikToks. And what happens? People ask questions in the DMs, in the messages, right? They ask in the messages and they expect an answer
Yeah.
right away, because that is the nature of the world right now. Instant answers. So they're not going to sign up with somebody who they meet once a month, like the old days 2 years ago, once a month, and get their answers. They want their answers now. And I'm one of those people,
Yeah.
right? I would only sign up if if I knew that I could access them when I need them. So for me, once a week is fine. Or if I can access them through messaging or through emails or whatever, but I expect answers. What's the worst thing when you're working on something, right? It's
And then,
like,
and then you can't move forward. And you're
no.
like, can you imagine waiting a month? Like,
And I'll tell you, one of the reasons we promote big time, you guys know, on Tech City, which stay with us because that comes next. On Tech City, we always talk about how we invest in small startup entrepreneurial softwares. One of the reasons that we like that is because the founders or the creators always talk to you one-on-one
yep.
and put you through anything you need. So it's like a coach. So you just jump on chat and it's the founder that's answering you, and you ask them the question, you get the answer, and boom, you're done.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Bigger
You don't have to wait.
company, more bloated, doesn't give you those responses, or you get customer service people that aren't as good as you. Let's
Yeah. And
face it.
sometimes they don't know because they're unfortunately reading from a script.
Yeah.
Right. So the other aspect of if you do want to do so, just, group coaching versus individual coaching, because obviously there's people who are like, oh, I still want that one-on-one. I still
Yeah.
want that one-on-one connection. And absolutely, there's a lot of value to that type of coaching.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that I've seen is I don't even know what to call it, the intro call, the discovery call, the whatever the case may be. I feel like the trend back in the day, a couple of years ago, was a free coaching call.
Right.
Now they've moved to a shorter call, which is more of a get to know you call.
Discovery call. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So those, I think, are still very valuable when you're talking about, personal coaching, you're talking about life coaching, that kind of stuff. You do need to determine fit. But I'm glad that we've moved to I just want to have a short conversation with you. I don't want a coaching call.
No.
Right? Because it's almost like too much pressure because I haven't really talked to you yet. It's that whole dating thing, right? Like, I want to get to know you. I want to see if you're a good fit. And I want to do multiple calls to make sure that I want to move forward with this one-on-one coaching. Again, talking about more of that life coaching, that personal coaching, whatever the case may be. So I think that's really valuable.
I'm not, so personally, I don't like those calls. I don't like any calls like that. And because why don't I like them? Because it's at the end of the day, it's a sales pitch. Sorry guys, that's the truth. And please, all you coaches that are going to jump all over me and say, no, we want to see if we're a good fit. You do. But at the end of the day, it's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So what do we do differently? If somebody wants to talk to us, we just say, come join us for free at one of our weekly coaching sessions. See us in action, ask whatever questions you want. And if you like it, then cool, we'll work with you. But the difference is you can actually see us do what we do. Whereas on a discovery call, you don't. However, if you do plan those calls to make an intro call instead of a coaching call, which is what Stacy alluded to, put it out there exactly what it is. Hey, it's a meet and greet. We want to see if we're a good fit. So what I would recommend is to absolutely be able to schedule those calls. And we have that.
Yep.
Don't get us wrong. We have that, but ours are very clear. Schedule a call, see if we can help you. But rather than turn it into a sales pitch, offer them some way of being able to see you after, or not a free coaching for one-on-one, but a group call, or send them a video, show yourself in action. Yes, the one call is very important. It's how you actually specify that, what it's about. So it's like, essentially can I help you? Are we even a right fit? Does it even make sense that we should remotely work together? Right. So those are important.
Yep.
And I guess the hang up most people have is how you do it. Like, how do you offer that up, and how do you, get people to sign up? And that's a whole
Well,
technical.
that's why I think again, back in the day, 10
Yeah.
years ago, like before the dinosaurs roamed the earth,
Yes.
we did the sort of shorter intro call, and then we moved
Yeah.
into the phase where it was a full coaching call
Yes.
because we want to add more value. We
Right.
want to give people that information. We want them to experience us.
Yeah.
However, it didn't result in anything
No.
because you haven't gotten to know them yet. You haven't decided to dive in. I'm not going to dive in with somebody on a first call. So
No.
I'm glad that we've kind of moved to shorter call. It is an intro call. It is a get to know you. I'll
Totally get
explain
to know.
more about what we're about, what
Yeah.
you're looking for, and we're done.
And
It's
that's
not a
important.
coaching call. Absolutely.
It's very important that as a coach or anyone that offers any service, it's important. It's kind of like, when you need to get something fixed and somebody comes out and gives you a quote. It's not really the quote you're more interested in, is this somebody I feel good with? Is it
Right.
somebody that actually can do what I need? And the quote will say, yeah, he can do all this, right? So that's the kind of get to know. So it's really important that you do have those, but I think the missing step is seeing you in action. So
Yes.
there's that connect from taking 10 minutes of your time to talk to this person. 10-15 minutes, we never say more than that. There's no point, because you'll know right away if you
Yeah.
guys want to work together or not, and if it's a good fit. So for example, you have, people can call you about podcasting.
Hmm.
So there is a they assume that some people assume you do everything. You give them the idea. You know what I mean? You hold their hand on everything. Some people only want you to edit, right? Or produce. And it's amazing, no matter how much detail you go to in your services, they don't get it. So the
Right.
only way you can get around that is a call.
Sorry, I pressed mute on my mic by accident. All of a sudden, I went to say something and my mic was muted. Like, why is this flashing? No, it's absolutely true. And I think it's important for the person who's the client to be able to ask those questions as well and to have that time before they dive in. But I can't agree more with what happens next. Like, if you go into our courses before you sign up, there's actually a what to do before coaching.
Right.
We actually have a course and it's called coaching tips. Basically, it's like, well, what do you do before the call? What do you do during the call? What do you do after the call? And I think
Yeah.
that's really important, both for the client to
Yeah.
know, sort of to think about some questions to ask, also afterwards for the coach to do that follow up to see them in action. So I kind of like the that accountability piece, both for
Yeah.
the client and for the coach, and not to just go, so, because you're right. Otherwise, it turns into a sales call of, so, are you ready to sign up? Like, can I send you the
Yeah.
link right now?
And
Instead, do a follow up with, an invitation, videos. Here's some things you can watch before
yeah.
you make that decision. That leaves it in the client's hands and it doesn't become a high pressure sales tactic.
And it's very so there are very specific models that follow the sales pitch, and it works, don't get me wrong, right? So if you want to follow those models and take them through and tell them what you can do and sign them up, great. We just value, we know what we can do, and so we know if you see us in action that you'll want to sign up. So the difference is I don't respond to high pressure tactics, and some of those calls, they teach you how to give them really no information. It's just a
Hmm.
sales call, and I don't like those. So there's a couple of different models. So hey, if that's working for you, good for you, great, and hopefully it keeps working for you in the future. But I'm not so sure, because as we said, with the advent of everything new, so for example, like people who teach you how to do, well, like one of the things we do, teaching you how to do funnels and online programs and stuff, you can get all that information
Yeah.
that exists. So the question is, do you want the access to somebody when you want it? to
Yeah.
ask the questions rather than, again, a weekly thing about, how are you doing on your progress? That's an accountability coach. That's
That's
very
a whole
different.
different thing. Yeah.
So everything is different. All we're saying is you have to be able to. These are the two things that we want you to do. One, offer some way to get to know you and the client, right? And
Yep.
then two is offer them some way to see you in action with before they have to commit to 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever you have. So whether it is, giving them a free course, right, to see
Yep.
how your brain works and how you structure things, which is a really great idea. That's one of the things we say you should do. Offer them an opportunity to watch your group coaching and
Yep.
participate in it, or offer them something other than just, this is what I'm going to do for you on that call.
And this is
Because
what I promise. And this is how I'm going to solve your problem. I have no proof of that. And I'm not going to let you see the proof of that. I just want you to sign on the dotted line right now is not a good way to doing
no,
things at
no,
all.
I'm always fascinated because, we've both encountered, lots of our clients have been through very high pressure coaching where people have charged them thousands and like $30,000, and like told them to cash in their
Hmm.
RSPs or their 401ks, depending on where you are, to get this coaching. And like, you would never hear that from us. We would
Well,
never tell you to get in
ever.
debt to go to coaching.
And the
Like, it's
amount of people that have come and gone, you know, I've done more in the past month than I did with a year, or seeing people come after a year of coaching and they're still no further ahead than they were the year
right.
before. Like it's not good. So really vetting
Yeah,
and seeing what's a good fit for you is really important.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and whether you are scheduling individual coaching, whether you're doing group coaching, whether you're doing free services, discovery calls, paid services, whatever the case may be, we have a really easy solution for you coming up on Tech City.
And then So, how much do you guys love Tech City? We've been getting a lot of love back from you. A lot of you are going to our resources page and